Excuse me, shipmate. My
Is
name
there another jury?
No. Kelvin Boss. No, I'm a unique one. My name's Kelvin Boss, OS2. I separated September 6, 2005. I'd like you to take a look at something, if you will. What I'm getting ready to show you is my D214, my veteran's preference letter, because I am 60% disabled, and all the jobs I've applied for in 2010 alone. Now, not only after serving 9 years honorably and going through OIF and OEF, I also hold a bachelor's degree in information technology and homeland security.
Okay.
I also hold a master project manager certification, and it's been applied. I've worked in corporate America, and I just would like you to take a look at this and explain to me what more I need to do since 2005 to get employment. I understand it's going to take time to turn things around, but we're talking about since 2005, I meet corporate standards and I meet VA standards, but yet I've been unemployed since 2005.
You're obviously overqualified.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I'm
maybe that's what
overqualified.
it is, yeah.
And that's just what I've applied for in 2009 and 2010. I've been applying since I was honorably discharged, and I've never even got a response.
Without looking at many of these these announcements and your what happened, one thing that I would suggest, and maybe a good point to look at, clearly with what you said about your background and your service, to me, this is a no-brainer. An IT professional with this type of background should have no problem finding an IT job in the government, since it's one of our mission-critical occupations. To me, no-brainer.
Well, you know what, sir? I got you one better. I've taken a step further than just filling out an application. I went to the hiring manager. As a matter of fact, at the Wilmington, Delaware VA, I was interning. The hiring manager was not a veteran. He was a civilian.
You were an intern at voc rehab?
Voc rehab intern.
MPWE?
Yes, at the regional office.
Okay.
The director of the IT department, I was walked over to him by another voc rehab counselor, explaining with my resume, explaining my qualifications. He was a civilian. His response to me was to go through USA Jobs. I said, well, the system seems to be flawed, and I've done that for X amount of years and it hasn't worked. But here I am, non-competitive agreement. You can hire me right on the spot. You can even interview me. They would not want to interview me. So I called back to my voc rehab counselor. I'm out of Jacksonville, Florida. And he informed me that in the whole chain of command in Florida, in hiring manager positions, there was not one veteran. Now, with these odds against us, yeah, it's funny.
I think within a VA structure,
Voc rehab and rehabilitation, not one hiring manager, not anybody in that supervisory chain of command was a veteran. As a matter of fact, he said in the whole office he was the first veteran, and there's only one more out of all the counselors working in that office. Now, with these odds against us, how can a civilian understand what I've done throughout my military career? I've civilianized my resume, I've militarized it, and I still don't get any results. So I asked, where's the result?
well, I can't give you a simple answer. I mean, I don't know what the answer would be, but I can only suggest that there's a couple things going on.
Please.
Right now, for most of the federal jobs, it is an automated process. It's through USA Jobs. That's the primary vehicle to get into the system, to get your paperwork in. The second one is agencies do advertise jobs on their own website. So sometimes you'll see the same job posted at 2 different locations. Sometimes you'll find unique jobs on a website that's not on USA Jobs, because by law they're not required in many cases to use USA Jobs, but many agencies realize that seems to work really well for a lot of people to find jobs. Now, I would only suggest that one of the areas that you may want to look at, and again, someone that's a lot smarter than I, look at your resume and look at how you have it structured and how you're using it to go after a particular job. For instance, here's a tip that I would give anyone when you are doing this online process. You know, if this is the job application, the announcement of the job, it always talks about the duties, and it talks about what the requirements are, qualification. These are 2 key pieces. you have to look at that, okay, here's the duties, and here's the qualifications, and then think to yourself, okay, do I fit? Can I do these duties, or have I done these? And do I have the minimum qualifications, because that's what it's about. To get in the door is minimum qualification. So do I have minimum qualification? If you say, yeah, I could do this job, you know, this is something I've been trained to, or I have the ability to, and so on and so forth, then that's a first big decision. The second part is when you submit your online information, you have to make sure that you tag as many places as reasonable that make sense what you have done, the work that you have performed, and the results against the duties and the qualifications. Now, for instance, qualifications might be a certification for a particular system, and you have that. And that's pretty straightforward. But the duties, if it says, a person must be able to do, and I remember my old days, you know, key punch operation or something, or data, whatever, entry, input. You have to say, believe it or not, because it's all automated now, I have successfully done key punch operation and automated data input for, you know, whatever system that they're looking for. And I mean, I'm very simple, very basic, but that's kind of how you have to look at this. Because what the machines do with smart intelligence, they're going to read your paperwork electronically and go hit, 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 hit. And it's going to kick it to the next level. Eventually, I mean, what happens is it narrows down, say, several thousand people that put in for a job to a manageable, you know, maybe to maybe 200 jobs, 200 applications. And then it goes through then more of a human piece as they start to work that down. Because they look at, okay, veterans preference. Not everybody that's a vet has veterans preference. You're aware of that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not everyone that is a vet has veterans preference. There are people that don't know that. And they'll say, I'm a vet, I'm a 5-point vet, I claim 5 points. But then when the DD-214 comes in, they didn't serve on active duty over 180 days, they were reservists, they didn't go into a campaign, they didn't get a service. I mean, they didn't meet the criteria. But again, they had all the IT things and they passed that, but then when the person checks the 214, they're not veterans preference, therefore they're put on the list at a level that is below someone with veterans preference. So there's a whole process, but I would only suggest to you, and again, I don't know all the facts. First, if you came to me and said, listen, I have this background, I'm an IT guy, I would say you would have no problem getting hired in the federal government. And I'll be glad to help you get some traction with some federal agencies